Hey and welcome to Lore Bytes. I'm Hammeh, and in this series I try to both explain and bring together Overwatch lore topics and concepts for you simply and quickly so you don't have to do the digging. Everything here is cited from official lore sources unless stated otherwise. In this episode we're going to examine Blackwatch, what we know about this mysterious covert division of Overwatch, speculate as to their activities, how they might have been involved in the downfall of the organisation, and where their members might be now. There are many threats in the world today: extremism, terrorism, cybersecurity and more, and behind the scenes, national governments, worldwide organisations and ultimately people like us are hopefully trying to make the right decisions to keep us safe in the world. What's right and what's wrong? Where's the line in, say, interrogating a prisoner when they have information that could save more lives? In the Overwatch world, in a future not too far from our present day, similar threats still exist, and national governments, possibly even larger bodies such as Overwatch, already act in a lot of ways that its denizens probably don't know about to attempt to secure the peace. How much do we want to know, or should we even know, about the ways that our governments and global organisations keep us safe? Where should the boundaries be? To take words attributed to work of the Roman poet Juvenal, and used in many different ways since, including by one of my favourite authors, Sir Terry Pratchett, may he rest in peace, quis custodiet ipsos custodes, who will guard the guards themselves, or who's watching the watchmen? In Overwatch's time of existence, it would be the huge responsibility of Gabriel Reyes, the Commander of Blackwatch, who would, when it came to the covert operations of the organisation, be the person in charge of making the moral decisions. For good or for ill, it wouldn't have been an easy position to be in. So, with that context, what do we know about Blackwatch and how it came to exist? Its roots are in the Omnic Crisis. As the First Omnic Crisis threatened humanity, the original Overwatch strike team, 6 strong, was formed under the leadership of Reyes, a respected and experienced officer who'd been part of the US Soldier Enhancement Program. Once Overwatch's style of asymmetric warfare had brought an end to the crisis, and with the god AIs involved, such as Anubis, quarantined in various facilities around the world, there were still many other threats to peace. Jack Morrison, fresh into his role as Strike Commander of Overwatch, would have immediately had a problem. A comrade-in-arms of Reyes is already from the US Soldier Enhancement Program. Morrison had been promoted straight over his head, and whether he knew it or not at the time, this caused resentment in the highly respected officer. We can only speculate as to Morrison's reasons, but certainly under his command and presumably with his knowledge, Blackwatch was created, with Reyes given command of the new Covert Ops Division. Blackwatch was a secret and clandestine organisation, and we don't know much about it, but what we do know is that it was unhindered by the red tape that Overwatch would have been subjected to, which would both appeal to and be appreciated by its recruits from more lawless backgrounds that it would bring in future. Blackwatch's missions and work would have certainly involved field work, wet work and covert operations, going undercover in various countries and working against things maybe like rogue omnics, terrorist threats and warmongering dictators, as well as many other threats that Overwatch and the world would have had to face. Overwatch and Blackwatch would be accused of aggressive and repeated violations of many countries' sovereignty when the organisation was under siege. Whether this was Overwatch working on a global basis or Blackwatch working covertly, time will tell. As the world was at comparative peace for nearly 2 decades under Overwatch's auspices, Blackwatch's actions must have contributed to this, even if they couldn't be talked about in public. As Overwatch grew and swelled in prominence over its 20 or so years of keeping the world safe, its funding and global influence ballooned too. The world celebrated Overwatch's agents as heroes, but none more so than Morrison. As the face of Overwatch, he was known around the globe. From Bangkok to Dorado, his heroic figure adorned posters as a symbol of hope. Was Reyes a jealous type to the extent of tearing down Overwatch just in revenge because of it? It doesn't necessarily fit the respected soldier we believe he was before joining Overwatch. Morrison may have seen giving Reyes command of Blackwatch as an honour, but the already slighted Reyes may well have seen it as just a further insult. As Morrison gained the plaudits and praise, Reyes was working undercover, potentially doing the dirty work, never receiving any public acclaim. We still don't know Blackwatch's and Reyes' precise degree of involvement in the downfall of Overwatch. Either way, from mccree's bio, we know that at some point, rogue elements within Blackwatch sought to bring down Overwatch and turn it to their own ends. Whoever these people were, in the later of the 2 decades of world peace, Blackwatch's existence inconveniently became public, causing a swell of mistrust in Overwatch and creating cause for rumours of assassinations, coercion, kidnapping, torture, and other activities to be investigated more deeply. As public pressure grew, a massive explosion, well known to us by now, wiped out Overwatch's Swiss headquarters. This was dubbed an accident by the United Nations at the time, but was later exposed by Olympia Shaw of Atlas News to be a battle between Morrison and Reyes, sending both seemingly to their deaths. As the United Nations began to pick apart the full transgressions of Overwatch's shadow operations, we've been told that there was little room for debate as to whether Overwatch should continue to exist. In the records, even the most ardent defenders inside Overwatch bowed to the truth and called for its dissolution. We have to presume as a result that at least some of the accusations levelled at Overwatch and Blackwatch were found to be true. However the organisation had conducted itself in the face of public opinion, it was enough to convict. The UN shut down Overwatch, with the Petrus Act making any future Overwatch activity illegal, and the fact that few people at the time doubted or tried to defend it speaks volumes. Whether Blackwatch's full extent of activities was sanctioned by Morrison, or perhaps even Reyes, or not, and however active some of its members were in trying to bring about its downfall, one thing's for sure: the actions of Blackwatch directly contributed to Overwatch's downfall. What happened to Blackwatch? As Overwatch was shut down, and various figures judging by these pictures seemingly were called to account for their actions, it's quite possible that many Blackwatch agents or operatives went to ground. If the accusations levelled against Blackwatch were true, and by the sounds of things some of them were, then the agents of Blackwatch could well have been wanted men and women. Some could have had previous criminal lives too. We know of at least one. Remember, McCree was also offered a rock and a hard place kind of bargain: serve in Blackwatch or rot in jail. It's quite possible that if McCree was offered this, other criminals, or other criminals with talent, may have got the same treatment. Without the protection of Blackwatch and Overwatch around them and their actions, and perhaps wanted to answer questions about their activities, I'd bet that a fair few went into hiding. We actually get a hint as to where some Blackwatch agents may have went in McCree's comic, Train Hopper, with two different hints. The first is the Talon agent's tactics when McCree watches them board the train, which he identifies as being out of the Blackwatch playbook, my playbook. Now, where would Talon have got these tactics and training from? The second is when, after McCree addresses a helmeted Talon agent on the train as a stranger, the agent actually names McCree in response, in what appears to be a familiar way. "McCree, is that you? I swear to God I'll kill..." Suggests the agent has some history with McCree, beyond being a grunt in a larger machine. A shared history in Blackwatch would certainly fit the bill here, particularly with the Blackwatch tactics we've mentioned above. Talon's a shady terrorist organisation to say the least, and it seems fitting that ex-Blackwatch operatives with shady past themselves might end up working for it. As for McCree himself, we know that as Overwatch's influence waned and rogue elements were trying to bring it down, he didn't want a part of the infighting, so he set off alone and went underground, only reappearing years later as a gun for hire. Since then, we know he's been active in preventing a raid on a ramen van and taking part in various acts of, let's say, vigilante justice, such as the events of Train Hopper. What of Blackwatch's commander? Well, Reyes certainly still bears a grudge, to say the least. We don't know what he's been up to for the whole 6 years since the Swiss headquarters was destroyed, but he's apparently, under the alias of Reaper, systematically hunting and eliminating ex-Overwatch agents. This led him to recently break into Watchpoint Gibraltar with Talon agents in tow to try and obtain a list of the locations of all said agents. Lucky, a plucky scientist wanting to make a difference in the world again was on guard. Reyes has also been working in Egypt in an attempt to gain information from something protected by Helix Securities. Now, I've speculated that this could be an attempt to gain access to a god AI, due to the comic being set in Giza, and Reaper's reference to The Incident, potentially the Anubis AI breaking its shackles in Farah's comic Mission Statement, which is also set in the area. Before the Sombra leaks, we weren't totally sure whether Reaper and Sombra mentioned in this comic were working independently from Talon, but as Sombra's leaks have all proven to be true so far, if she's working for Talon currently, as stated in her leaked bio, then Reaper's probably working for them too, in this Egyptian scenario. When running into Anna and Morrison in Old Soldiers, Reyes also says, "He did this to me. They left me to become this thing. They left me to suffer. Remember that." What happened to Reyes and Morrison in the destruction of the Swiss headquarters is a tale that will have to be told in future. However, from Reyes' words here, the emphasis feels like he blames Morrison. What other he would Anna and Reyes both know without naming? The "they left me to suffer" is an interesting point. Was a wider group witness to the events between Morrison and Reyes in the Swiss headquarters? It'll be fascinating to find out. As Blackwatch's legacy continues into the present day, will McCree ever rejoin his former colleagues? Beyond eliminating ex-Overwatch agents, what is Reyes' plan, if indeed he has anything greater in mind than a quest for revenge on the people he thinks responsible for his current monstrous form? Blackwatch's legacy is responsible for not only the situations many Overwatch agents find themselves in today, but perhaps even the state of the world, depending on the links between Blackwatch and Talon. I'm sure the story of Blackwatch will be told, and it will be a fascinating one to discover more about in future. How was McCree recruited? What did Blackwatch get up to? And who were the members within it who were trying to bring down Overwatch? I can't wait to find out. Thanks very much for tuning in to this Lore Bytes covering a little bit about Blackwatch. I cover all of Overwatch lore in different elements through its heroes, maps, world, interactions and voice lines. If that interests you, please do take a look at the playlists here. If you like this video, do like, subscribe, comment with what you think. It really helps me out. Cheers for tuning in. Hopefully catch you soon. I've been Hammeh. Take it easy.